The problem with the NHS and with trying to run the NHS as a business is that it makes nothing, it manufactures nothing. So as a company, it's got very little to offer except for training. And it trains doctors and nurses very well. Is the NHS itself being privatised? I don't think it is. Is it being defunded? No, but its funding is not going in the right places. Its funding is going towards bureaucracy and towards paying for those things that the NHS has actually always paid for. It's always reached out to private companies, to pharmacists, to opticians, to GP practices and so on. All of these things, even since 1948, have been privately funded. And today, even more so. And, buildings, bedpans, cleaning services, computing systems, the NHS wage processing software, almost all of this is done by the private sector. And the private sector can charge really whatever it wants because the systems are so difficult and so complex that in the end it's a monopoly situation. So is the present government trying to destroy the NHS? It doesn't have to try. It just hasn't done anything to help the NHS because it hasn't done anything to simplify and reform the bureaucracy. And what we've got to today is a situation where we don't have enough real workers, the doctors and the nurses. We have plenty of bureaucrats because they're all, it seems, British. It's ironic, isn't it? And the real people who do the work, we need to import these, whether from agency staff, private, or from abroad, in which case we have to pay for resettlement packages as well. And it all costs money. So is the Conservative Party trying to run down the NHS so that it can privatise it by stealth? No, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. The privatisation is built into the system. What we need to do is reform the bureaucracy and get rid of many of the bureaucrats. If we did that, we would save a lot of money. And we need to, I think a healthy government should make it clear that no bureaucrat should be paid more than a senior doctor. And that would take a knife to the nonsense of trust executives lording it over the system, coming in from big business and doing what? Doing nothing, not talking to other trusts. That's a nonsense. And I speak from experience of having had two botched operations, one more recently and one before the 2012 changes. So I don't identify the present government as being entirely culpable. The rot was already there beforehand.